So Mark, when he was getting ready to graduate, thought that he wasn't ready to go to college. Academics weren't his thing. And so he decided that he was interested in the military. He always had been. And so until he figured out what he wanted to do going forward, he decided to join the Marine Corps, which he thought would be a challenge, and he wanted to prove himself. And then he was killed on April 3rd. So he died very early in the war. So that's his service. Well, the one thing I really saw happen with Mark was he grew into a man while he was in the military. So he came back from basic training very proud that he could manage the discipline, and the mind games of the drill instructors didn't get to him. And the harder the better. So unlike at school, he really worked hard to achieve, and he felt really proud of himself. And there's a picture I brought that shows him grinning. He happened to be on home leave during graduation, so he was able to be here, and pointing at his Marine Corps sticker that he had on his cap. So he achieved that. I mean, I think it was an amazing achievement that he became a scout sniper. He became more mature, clearly. I mean, when he first went to California, he called me and he said, "Mom, when I ordered a Dell computer, was I supposed to sign the check that I sent?" Like he didn't know how to write a check. And, those kinds of things. So he grew up. He learned how to manage money and a car payment and all those kinds of things. And he became part of a tight-knit group. The platoon was pretty tight, and so that was nice to see that he developed friendships. He was actually, because he was only 18 to 21 when this was going on, kept a lot of this stuff to himself, so I didn't know a lot of this until he died. What are you doing this weekend? Well, I'm hanging out with buddies. I'm going to Orange County with buddies. I'm going to a club with buddies. That was about the story I'd get. So, it wasn't until after he died and his battalion came back from Iraq that I got to hear from several of the people he knew in the military, and many of them contacted me, and then I went out to his base and I got to meet them, and that was really pretty wonderful, I think, for all of us. And then I went back from a memorial, and I've stayed in touch with several of his friends, and I have a couple of their children are named after him, and I've been to weddings, and so it's very nice. I mean, I met an awful lot of really wonderful people as a result of a terrible thing. Well, the vets that I've met, or the people that I've met who have served, have been pretty wonderful people. They're warm, caring people, and they're not violent, ready to shoot everybody on sight kind of people that somehow the reputation gets to be. I think they're much more aware of what violence can do to us, and they don't really like going to war if they can do anything to help it. They have usually, especially if they've been in combat, but just having been in basic training, they usually have a very tight bond with each other. And I think that they feel good that, what they would tell you is that they do what they do to keep us free and to allow us to live the lives that we want to live. So I think they're proud of that, most of them. This is a picture that of him and the platoon. They were out in the desert doing some training in California, and they were all fooling around smoking cigars. That's just sort of, look at what a hot, you know what I mean, he is. This is my favorite picture of Mark that was in his camera. So on a Sunday, he and a friend went hiking up this mountain, which they also did for training, but it's in outside of 29 Palms. I think it's in Lake Joshua State Park, but I won't swear to it. Not Lake Joshua Tree State Park. Anyway, and he looks very happy, and he just hiked up a mountain for fun. I met his friend who hiked with him that day. So Mark was walking in a mall with a friend of his out there, I think in Palm Springs, and they asked him if they could take his picture, and this was his picture against a white background. And then they chose his picture, and they used it to make this huge banner with him in it, and that's him standing in front of his banner. And so after he died, I sort of went on a rampage to get everything marked, so I actually managed to get the banner. So This is a picture of the Humvee that Mark drove. He was the driver for the lieutenant colonel who ran the battalion. So because of that, I got to meet a lot of people who were embedded. There was a San Francisco Chronicle reporter that was embedded with them. So I got pictures and stories, and it was really nice. But anyway, this is the Humvee. And this is Mark's gravestone on Patchen Road in the Jewish cemetery here in South Burlington. So lots of veterans go visit him. There's sort of a connection. It's very powerful. So, you know, that's just what they do. Again, another embedded photographer. This picture, and it was in the Boston Globe. And it was after the sandstorm, and they were packing up to continue going forward. And I think that was a day or two before he died. Mark died in an ambush, and he was shot. So unlike a lot of the soldiers or the Marines who died later, you know, with IEDs and all that, IEDs hadn't happened yet. I mean, here. So here's Mark and a friend of his for Halloween. So Mark's wearing, obviously you can see, a uniform. Then I had to sew all these patches on. He spent a lot of money at the Army-Navy store. He loved to play lacrosse. Here he was as a lacrosse player. Oh, and he played football also, and every homecoming, Coach Mack picks one person on the football team to wear Mark's jersey, which has been retired and is now hanging outside the boys' locker room, or men's locker room, whatever it's called. And here's the last time I saw him. It was Christmas time, 2002, and he was home on leave, and he looks really happy. I mean, I think he thought he was going off to war and it was all going to be okay, of course, and I didn't know at the time, so.